Most of us spend our days walking around with a brain that feels like a browser with 50 tabs open. We are constantly absorbing notifications, emails, and infinite feeds, leaving our minds buzzing with a restless, nervous energy. This constant hum taxes your sympathetic nervous system, locking your body in a low-grade state of fight or flight that makes finding daily peace elusive. In an environment defined by endless scrolling and notification fatigue, our attention is constantly being fractured into exhausting, incoherent pieces. To counter this mental drain, many utilize a physical, centuries-old Japanese practice called shakyo, or sutra copying. It is a highly structured exercise in focus. The practice centers on attention with form. By following the physical boundary of the text, you provide a grounded, concrete task for a wandering mind. Tracing a pre-printed character acts as a non-judgmental container. When your thoughts inevitably drift, the next stroke provides an immediate, tangible invitation to return to the paper. Narrowing your focus to the precise mechanics of a single character forces the brain to slow its processing speed. This transforms a mundane act of writing into an active, stabilizing meditation. This ancient discipline is validated by modern neuroscience. At Tohoku University, Dr. functional near-infrared spectroscopy, placing sensor bands on the forehead to monitor cerebral blood volume during different cognitive activities. These sensors tracked oxygenated hemoglobin to identify which tasks most effectively stimulate the brain's executive control centers. This chart shows the results. Comparing simple motor tasks and complex games to sutra copying, the blood flow triggered by hand-tracing scripture is significantly higher. This spike occurs in the prefrontal cortex, the region governing working memory, focus, and cognitive flexibility. Because sutra copying demands rapid visual processing and fine motor coordination simultaneously, it builds a robust cognitive reserve. This provides a physical layer of protection against age-related decline. By intentionally setting up this small physical space, you are engaging your senses. You are clearing your desk, which in turn begins to clear your mind. Making that first mark requires intense physical concentration. You have to balance the brush tip's center of gravity while managing the physical resistance of the paper beneath it. Because you are focusing so closely on the deliberate, steady movement of your hand, your body naturally begins to synchronize your respiratory rate to match your strokes. Your breathing slows down. This chart shows the physiological result of that slowed breathing. The erratic spikes of a stressed respiratory rate smooth out, which directly stabilizes your heart rate variability. That stabilization sends a clear biological signal to your autonomic nervous system, actively shifting your body into a state of parasympathetic dominance, your rest and digest mode. The brushstroke operates as a mechanical lever. By deliberately moving your hand, you lower your heart rate, physically forcing those anxious, racing thoughts to dissipate. This is the Heart Sutra, one of the primary dense doctrinal texts used for this practice. At its core, this text is about the concept of emptiness, the idea that letting go of our rigid attachments to the world is the key to overcoming daily suffering. But in the Nichiren Buddhist tradition, copying this text involves a principle called Ichijo Ichibutsu, which translates to one character, one Buddha. Under this philosophy, every single glyph you trace is treated as a literal physical manifestation of the Buddha's wisdom appearing right there on the page. Adopting this mindset shifts the entire act. You are no longer performing a mechanical chore. You are having an interactive meeting with an ancient source of comfort, one character at a time. Of course, you are human. You will inevitably make a mistake. Your hand will slip out of bounds, you will draw the wrong line, or you will simply lose your focus. When that happens, the traditional method for handling the error is incredibly simple. You do not cross it out or throw the paper away. You calmly place a small dot next to the miswritten character, and you write the correct one right beside it. We are so used to an all-or-nothing cycle of perfectionism, where a single mistake ruins the whole project. Here, the correction process is frictionless and gentle. Acknowledging a flaw on the page without judgment actively trains your brain in emotional resilience. You practice self-compassion on the paper so you can use it in your daily life. You also don't have to use traditional ink to access these benefits. The same cognitive results are available through modern tools like tablet apps and digital styluses. Dragging your finger or a stylus across a glass screen provides immediate tactile feedback. That tiny bit of physical friction gives your nervous system a grounding, somatic anchor to hold on to. This active physical form of focus is particularly helpful for neurodivergent individuals, like those with ADHD, who might find the absolute stillness of traditional sitting meditation incredibly difficult. The medium you choose, whether it's wet ink on paper or pixels on a screen, does not change the outcome. The repetitive physical act of tracing is what invites a restorative flow state. When you finish your copying session, there is one final vital step in the process, the dedication of merit, known as kudoku. Traditional Buddhist doctrine holds that the sheer act of copying a sutra generates a spiritual currency. You are gathering goodness and blessings simply by doing the work. But you don't keep it for yourself. Practitioners are instructed to intentionally transfer this accumulated peace outward, dedicating it toward the healing and well-being of someone else. Externalizing your inner peace turns a solitary act of writing into an expansive exercise in gratitude. It takes the calm you built on the page and uses it to brighten your outlook long after you set the brush down. Tracing ancient characters takes a noisy, overloaded brain and carefully reorganizes it into a sanctuary of radiant focus. So grab a pen or a brush or a tablet, take a deep breath, and try tracing a few words right now. Sutra copying proves that the simple act of writing by hand contains the power to bloom joy right here in the present moment.